Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you for Bettor Off Dead. This is Thursday. Got to get one earphone off, man, because I don't really need the earphones for this. It's just I am monitoring my own voice, but, like, I don't know, man. I can't deal with it, and I have, like, tinnitus in my left ear, so it's a whole thing, man. I basically, like, I don't know. I think I talk too loudly unless I, like, at least have one ear exposed here. We were 2-1 on the show yesterday. I apologize for the being busy in the middle of the day yesterday, so I couldn't get those afternoon plays out on Instagram, at least one of the ones that was a winner, Miami. I was too late to get it out on Instagram, but of course, if you guys watched the show this morning, whatever, saw my tweets, you had that as a play. It was looking like we were going to go 3-0 yesterday, man. We had Cleveland and the Mets. That went under in the first 5 innings. It was 3-0 at the end of the 5th, and then the full game went under. I think it was 4-1. Final, something like that. So the bullpens actually did well. The full game was actually easier to hit the under than the first 5, I guess. But that was a cash. Either way you did it. Miami got the win against Houston. They held on. I think they had a 6-2 lead at one point in that game. Something like that. And wound up 6-4. So we got that one done as well. And the Atlanta Braves can kiss my ass, basically. Spencer Strider had an awful start. Not what I expected at all in that game. Expected the Braves to do a little bit better offensively than they did, too. Their offense didn't really do anything until later in the game. They actually almost were able to somehow come back in that game. So full game, it would have been a little bit more interesting. But if the bet's going to lose, then I prefer it to lose early, so and more in obvious fashion. Like, don't even tease me, man. So the Braves obviously did not get there in the first 5, and it was looking like it was going to. I was like, we're having a 3-0 day, baby. The Braves are up 1-0. I'm like, all right, here we go. Then it was 1-1. I'm like, all right, well, they're at home, so they can still get this done. Nope, then Strider just imploded in the 4th inning, I think, and maybe the 5th as well. And then it was all over. I think it was 5-1. At that point, and the Braves actually cut it to 5-4 by the end of the game. But we had the first 5, a loser either way. But again, I'll take the more obvious loser. I'm not gonna have any best bets today, man. I am just gonna do a rundown of everything that we have today. There's not a lot going on. There are only 4 baseball games. There's WNBA and there's NFL preseason. I don't think anything rises to the level of being a play for me. And as I keep pointing out, I'm just giving out picks. I'm giving out the bets that I would make if I was actually betting right now, because I am, trying to be a little bit more conservative with funds for the time being. Let's go to WNBA, man. And I'll talk about what you guys want me to talk about after I break down the actual games. Atlanta at Chicago. All these games are actually kind of late, 8 p.m. and then 10 p.m. Eastern for these games. Everybody knows Atlanta's one of the better teams in the league, man. And Chicago is terrible. Chicago's dealing with injuries as well, so we don't even know exactly who's going to be in and out of the lineup for Chicago here. Angel Reese has been injured. Looks like she is probably not playing in this game. She's listed as still being out. We have a bunch of players, game time decisions for Chicago. Obviously, Atlanta has to be the favorite. They're up from 10 to 10.5 here. Atlanta, I mean, it's possible they overlook Chicago a little bit, though. We have 3-game win streak for them, going on the road now to face Chicago. They are doing it with momentum, and Atlanta is probably still going to try to win some of these games because they're only 1 game out of first place now in the Eastern Conference. But will they take Chicago seriously? It's kind of hard to do that when you know that Reese is out and Chicago hasn't been playing that well. Chicago might actually be in the better momentum spot a little bit, and they're in the better travel spot because they're staying at home. But what they did is they just broke a long loss streak that they had, man. They lost 8, 9 games in a row, whatever that was. Whenever you have a long streak like that and the streak ends, whether it's good or bad, whatever that result is can kind of carry over into the next game. So I think this might be a new momentum starter for Chicago. So I would slightly lean to taking the points with Chicago in that game. Certainly would not be a play I would want. You can go to the game for $5, man. And looking at these 3 games here, man, if there's going to be a dildo thrown in one of these games, it's going to probably be in Chicago or in Phoenix because we've seen it happen in both of those locations already. So it's probably going to be one of those 2 games. Andrew, what's up, man? I'll pretend that that's a green eggplant. That's true. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm actually surprised that this is actually the game that has the lowest ticket price. You would think it would be Connecticut and LA, because why would anybody want to go to that game? And that has the highest low ticket price, whatever, which is still like nothing. I mean, dude, nobody cares about these games. Like, nobody even really wants to go to the games. What's the most hilarious thing is that the betting handle, since Bet Online, which I am going to get to, I have the tab up, Bet Online, they started putting out dildo props, I think, after the first or second dildo occurrence happened, and now we've had 3. They put out bets on the dildos, and the handle in the at the sports books has been greater on the dildos than on the actual WNBA games, which is ridiculous. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's what everybody's talking about. Could really kind of be the best thing for the WNBA. Just turn into a joke, and at least, you know, people will watch you for that reason. Connecticut at LA. Speaking of jokes, I actually think LA is kind of in a bad spot in a way, though, because they are coming off 2 big wins over Seattle and Indiana, although it was Indiana without Caitlin Clark, as she remains out. So something needs to get people's eyes on the WNBA, right? So maybe it's a conspiracy. Oh, Caitlin Clark is out. Let's start throwing dildos, and then people will start watching the WNBA. Could be that. I don't know. But yeah, LA did win those last 2 games. They're facing a Connecticut team that they already just beat on the road not that long ago by 15 points. So they might not pay a whole lot of attention to Connecticut here. And people looking at that might say, well, if they won by 15 on the road, this is easy, right? They're only laying 9 now at home, down from 11 after 9. So there's been some significant movement, actually, towards the Connecticut side. And I do agree with it. It would be the strongest lean that I have in the WNBA today, although I'm not going to play it, but it is a little bit of a road revenge spot for Connecticut. They are already traveling, so they're already in Phoenix, so they don't have a ton of travel here between Phoenix and LA, and did lose both of those games. They've been playing a little bit more competitively recently, so maybe we'll get something out of Connecticut there. And then Indiana, still without Caitlin Clark, at Phoenix. Phoenix has been playing decent. Phoenix is actually a pretty good home team. They're on a 2-game win streak here. They actually returned home, and they didn't suffer the return home distraction spot against that very, very weak Connecticut team. They still won pretty easily. And now it's their 2nd game back home. Doesn't really look like a terrible spot to me for Phoenix. Indiana is playing a 4th straight road game, and they just lost a long win streak. Despite not having Caitlin Clark, Indiana was playing pretty well, man. They'd won 5 games in a row, and then they finally lost a game at LA. And again, you lose a win streak like that, sometimes that loss hangs you over into the next game. So I would slightly lean to Phoenix in this game, but the money seems to disagree, as Phoenix is down from 6-4. So we'll see what happens in those games. But if I was going to recommend a play on any of them, it would be grabbing the points with Connecticut, although I know the line is not where it once was in that game. And then we have this article about Bet Online here. You could still bet on these things, man. When the 3rd dildo came down, you could bet on the color of the dildo. You could bet on what the first thing, like whoever was the first person to touch it, what they did with the dildo, whether they picked it up or kicked it. You could bet on that, and you could bet on which side of the court it landed on. So I think it landed on the home side, which was at actually, I believe it was at LA. So maybe the LA game will be the dildo game. Was it LA? I lose track, man. I think it was because it was that L.A. Indiana game. I'm pretty sure is where the dildo happened. It was definitely Indiana because the dildo actually hit Sophie Cunningham, who is my favorite WNBA player at this point, by the way. Not just because I think she's hot, but she was the one that tweeted out, like, stop throwing dildos. You're going to get us hurt or something like that. Crazy that's a real tweet. And then I think somebody actually intentionally probably threw the dildo in her direction, and she kicked it. So if you had bet on any of that, the kick won, landing on the home side won, and it was green again. So all 3 dildos have been green so far, and that one again. And now you can bet on various things again. You can bet on who the first person to touch the 4th dildo will be, whether it's a ref, an employee, a player, coach, fan. I think probably it seems to me like either ref or arena employee would have to be the way to go there, because I know Sophie Cunningham was the first person to touch the 3rd one. So getting the player at plus 200 actually seems like, if you have bet online, I don't know if you do, but it seems like player at plus 200 seems too tempting to me, right? Like, oh, you get 2-1 odds on what happened with the last dildo. There's a reason why it's only plus 200, man. So I would go with either the ref or the arena employee on that one. Don't really know which one it's going to be. Probably the ref would actually be more likely. I mean, that's why the odds are the way that they are, but probably ref would be what would happen, because the ref is on the court. The arena employee probably isn't as close to where the action is at the time, so it would probably be a ref, unless the ref is like, I'm not touching that dildo. I don't know where that's been. And that's the thing, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen with these bets now, because the WNBA actually now is not allowing bags into the games at all. So usually the bags get, inspected, checked, and then people come in, which I don't know how, when a bag gets inspected, how a neon green dildo gets through, but it's like the TSA, man. Everything gets through. So now people, if they're going to try to bring a dildo in, they're going to have to do it in their butts. But, to carry on the trend, people have done crazier things, I think. So who's going to be the next hero? Who knows, man? We saw the dude that threw the 3rd dildo was this, like, fat, long-haired, 18-year-old, basement-dwelling looking dude. He's an incel, man. But that guy, I mean, he's in jail right now, so he won't be able to do it. But if he wants to bring a dildo to the next game in whatever city he's in, which I think he's in L.A., whatever, you got to hide it in your butthole, man. That's the only way. You can bet on the color, which green versus not green. Green is at minus 250 because, of course, every one of the first 3 has been green. And there was another green one in the stands, I guess, in the previous game. So there was almost a 4th green dildo. That's why the green is favored. But you got to think people are still going to be betting green because it's been green every single time. At some point, somebody's probably going to switch it up and toss a different dildo, especially if people are trying to sneak the dildo in. It might be black, you know what I mean? So then you can bet on these other colors here. If it's not green, this bet becomes, active. Basically, if you bet on this non-green one, I think if a green dildo gets thrown, your bet's just going to push, like it won't happen, because that would be the 4th dildo. It will be green. But if it's any other color, this bet would happen. Blue, for some reason, has the best, the lowest odds at plus 100. I don't know why, but you would think black-brown would be the right way to go there at 3-1. Because, again, black, I think, would be the easiest to sneak through, even though a black one is going to be bigger. So you got to keep that in mind, too. So maybe white Caucasian is a little bit of value there at plus 600. I love how they specify either white or Caucasian, because it could be like literally a white dildo, or it could just be, the white skin color dildo, which is a very typical, it's the most lifelike dildo color. So the Caucasian dildo, not Caucasian, which that would be an easy one to sneak in, an Asian dildo. You could sneak that one in your pocket, man. That would be easy. They have you empty your pockets, though. Sir, what is that? Oh, it's a keychain. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know, man. So I think you could see some, there might be some value in the 6-1 on the white Caucasian, to be honest. Or, again, black-brown at plus 300, because I think it might be easier to sneak the black one in. You can kind of hide it a little bit, even though the black ones tend to be big. But if you find a regular-sized black dildo, that might be the way to go there. I love how we're talking about dildos on the betting show now, man. We'll talk about MLB here now. I know, the fun is over. I should have saved the dildo to the end, but do we really care about WNBA? I don't know. A's at Washington are finishing their series here. Washington won the game yesterday 2-1 after they lost the first game of the series badly, 6-7. Washington had lost 7 games in a row, I believe is what that is prior to that. So maybe Washington has a little bit of momentum now after getting that game. Maybe that'll propel them forward a little bit. I mean, this is the dregs, though, here, man. I mean, this is the afternoon game at 12:05 Eastern. 2 of the worst teams in baseball to some extent. I mean, they're not as bad as, Pittsburgh, Chicago White Sox, Colorado, but A's Washington, I mean, this is an ugly matchup. I mean, they're 2 of the worst bullpens at the very least. The A's have some pretty exciting hitters, though. Nick Kurtz, likely to be Rookie of the Year. What's up, Zach? Euclid is Greek, right? Not Italian, so that's definitely not my name. I am a fan of Euclid, though. His career was ended short, man, because of all his injuries. Definitely liked him as a Red Sox player. He was a grinder, man. He drew a lot of walks. A's Washington, again, bullpens are terrible in this matchup. Whoops, I clicked on Atlanta. The A's used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, so not a lot of bullpen usage there. 4 for Washington. So Washington is at the bullpen disadvantage here in this game at the very least. I think the A's would have a bullpen advantage, which is never the case, but it might be in this game. Which, by the way, Mason Miller, their closer, they traded over to San Diego the other night. He gave up a home run on a 104-mile-an-hour fastball, which I guess was the fastest pitch to be hit for a home run either this season or in Major League history. I forget what it was, but Gurriel on Arizona took that 1 yard. He connected, man, with the 104-mile-an-hour fastball from Mason Miller. These MLB hitters, man, they can crank the fastball. Like, they can catch up to it, and if they make contact with it, it could go. But anyway, back to this game. Jacob Lopez is pitching for the A's. He's been really up and down. 3.99 ERA this year, 1.34 whip. He's been worse on the road, which is pretty surprising because that A's stadium, as I always point out, is really, really horrific to pitch in. Very hitter-friendly park, but 4.96 road ERA, so Lopez has actually been worse on the road. He hasn't given up a run over his last 2 starts, which is pretty good, but only combined for 9 1/3 innings across those 2 starts. So it starts looking a little less good, and then you see why that was the case. He threw 95 pitches in each start because he was just walking a ton of guys. He walked 6 guys and struck out 9 over that span, so that's too many walks. His walk rate is definitely too high right now. I don't know if we could really totally trust Lopez, although Washington's never seen him before. So maybe Lopez has a little bit of an edge there against Washington's offense just because they're totally unfamiliar with him. They kind of have to try to figure him out. Lopez, by the way, not a guy that throws hard, although his off-speed stuff does seem to have the ability to fool major league hitters. Mitchell Parker is pitching for Washington. He has not been good this year. 5.35 ERA, 1.47 whip. A little bit better at home, 4.77 ERA, so he's at least respectable, but his last start was anything but respectable. He got bombed by the Brewers in 4 innings, 12 hits allowed, 8 earned runs. Absolutely horrendous performance from him. I would say he's not in good form right now, man. Even though he was pitching okay the prior 2 starts. A's don't have a whole lot of history against him. Only Ursula, the sea witch, Ursula. He's 2 for 2 off of Parker, but the rest of the A's bats have never faced him before. So I guess you could debate maybe Parker has a little bit of an advantage in some way because the A's hitters haven't seen him before, but I'm not sure that's really going to come to fruition because he's not a good pitcher. I'm not sure that I would trust either of these pitchers necessarily, man. And again, I still don't trust either bullpen. I mean, you can't possibly. So I was kind of thinking an over kind of made sense in this game, even though we've seen, like, yesterday went way under, shockingly. But whenever you see A's Washington, it's like, it's got to be like a lean towards the over, right? Totals flip from 9 juice to the over to juice to the under, though. 87% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over, though. So I don't know if we should read into that move on the total more or the percentages. Maybe the move matters more on the total. Because these percentage numbers, when they're both high like that, it's not really that much of an indicator. It could kind of get fucked up a little bit here. 95 is probably not even accurate. So probably the money actually did come in the under, which kind of surprises me. The A's are also a road favorite here, up from -125 to -146. They do have the better hitting, and I think that they actually have the bullpen edge in this game, as I said, and probably arguably they actually have the starting pitching edge too. So I don't disagree with the A's side in that game. 80% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the A's, but laying a favorite price with the A's on the road, it just does not seem like a good idea. Home underdogs tend to be a decent way to look generally in MLB, especially this year. I mean, obviously, that's not a game I'm recommending a play on, but just trying to analyze it. White Sox finishing their series with Seattle here. Seattle's on a 3-game win streak. They're about to potentially sweep the White Sox here. They have an arguably bigger series up next against Tampa Bay, although Tampa Bay has really kind of fallen off. Will Seattle overlook Chicago in their last game of the series? Maybe, because Seattle's just pretty much dominated them in the series. Seattle obviously is the better bullpen, though. They used 3 relievers yesterday. So did Chicago, although they used Alexander for a ton of pitches. So he basically was long relief in that game. But some of their better relievers are available here for the White Sox. Although you do have to take into account the fact that Seattle is still playing for something because they're trying to make the playoffs, and the White Sox know that they're out of it. So there is that kind of motivational disparity, but that's going to be factored into the line. Obviously, Seattle's a big favorite. I mean, Seattle has the better offense, the better bullpen, and they have the better starter here. So they have the edge across the board. Shane Smith is pitching for the White Sox. He's a rookie. He started off really well this season, which I like because, he's a guy from my area here, Danvers, Mass. So he's a North Shore guy. I'm a South Shore guy. Smith has really kind of fallen off, though, and maybe it's because he's just not used to throwing this many innings in a season or in a short span. I don't know, because I think he does have good stuff, but I wouldn't trust him at this point, this late into the season. 4.25 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, not very good. His ERA is exactly the same, home and away, so he doesn't have significant splits at all. He did actually pitch in the All-Star game, I guess because somebody needed to make the team from Chicago. Do they still have that rule? I don't know. I went a third of an inning scoreless in the All-Star game. Leading into that, his team had lost 5 straight starts of his, and he'd failed to make it 5 innings in any of them, and he allowed 5 or more earned runs in all but one of those starts, so that's not a good sign. He came out of the All-Star break, and he was not very good against Anaheim. Again, failed to go 5 innings, although they're limiting his pitch count a little bit at this point. Or maybe they were doing it just around the All-Star appearance. I'm not sure. Or maybe they're just trying to keep from totally blowing him up or burning him out. But he also walked 4 guys in that game against Anaheim. That's not a good sign. Smith, his numbers are a bit all over the map against Seattle because it's a very small 14 at-bat sample size. He's held them to 3 hits, a 214 average, which is quite good, but 924 OPS because there are a couple walks in there. All of the hits are for extra bases, 2 doubles, and a home run from Julio Rodriguez. So Smith, he's a little bit dicey coming into this game, man. What's up, Jay, man? What's going on? What happened with Cannon yesterday? It looks like Cannon was out of the game pretty early, right? I don't even know what happened in the game, but Tyler Alexander threw a lot of pitches in that game is all I know. I wasn't paying attention to what happened in the game. Logan Gilbert is pitching for Seattle here. He's been really good. 3.45 ERA, 0.98 WHIP is anything. A sub-1 WHIP is elite, man. There are very few starting pitchers with this many innings under their belt that have a WHIP that good. It's basically Gilbert, Skeens, probably Skubal. There aren't that many people that qualify. He's really good at home, too. He's actually not very good on the road, but at home, 2.27 ERA. Been pretty good recently, even though he did allow 4 and 3 earned runs in his last couple of starts. His strikeout rate remains really high. It was 38-10 strikeout walk ratio in July, and he had 7 strikeouts, no walks in his first outing in August against Texas. Not a good lineup, but still, he is burning through hitters right now, man. He struck out 7 or more in all but 1 start, going all the way back to late June. So he's definitely fooling hitters, man. The White Sox, not a good lineup, although the White Sox actually have decent numbers off him. In 42 at-bats, he has 12 strikeouts and only 1 walk against them, so that's a good sign for Gilbert. But the White Sox have actually hit him. 286 batting average, 779 OPS with a home run from Robert Jr. So I don't know, man. Gilbert, it might not be the absolute greatest matchup for him. I still think Seattle should win this game. I mean, they're already up to minus 270, though, on the money line. I don't think there's any way that you can play them at a price like that. 63% of tickets, only 62% of the cash. I actually think that this game could potentially go over, man, even though the money's coming in on the under. 76% of tickets, 70% of the cash on the under. I know Gilbert's really good at home. I know it's a small sample size against the White Sox, so it doesn't mean much. But for some reason, to me, it looks like it's not the greatest matchup for him. So I don't know, man. It's a low total, 7.5, because it is Seattle. A lot of low-scoring games at Seattle. I know White Sox bad offense. Seattle's is fairly good, but I mean, to me, because that line is so low, I mean, there's not a lot of room for error in that one, so I could see that game going over, although I certainly wouldn't bet on it. What do I have down so far? I was talking about WNBA dildo props, so you didn't really miss anything. There are only 4 MLB games today. I'm not recommending a bet on any of them. Curtis, good morning. What's up, man? Yeah, I mean, these MLB games, I mean, I'll give you what I think the best lean is in the MLB. These last 2 games are actually more enticing, at least more enticing to bet on than the other 2. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. So these 2 games are actually new series. Pittsburgh is staying at home. They just lost a series to the Giants. Pittsburgh is out of it, though. So Cincinnati has a motivational edge here because Cincinnati is in the playoff hunt. So they're above 500. I mean, Cincinnati's going to show up in this game, but they are coming off a big series against the Cubs. They're traveling from Chicago to Pittsburgh, which isn't a ton of travel, but it's more travel than what Pittsburgh is doing. But the thing that I think what we're looking at in this game, though, is that you're paying the Paul Skeens tax if you like Pittsburgh. Like, is there any reason Pittsburgh should be this heavy of a favorite in this game? Which I'll talk about the line when I'll go back to pregame and show that line again. But I would say no, that Pittsburgh should not be favored by this much. If you look at the bullpen usage, Pittsburgh yesterday, 5 relief pitchers, which is not that good. Cincinnati only used 2. So Cincinnati, generally, I would say they don't have the better bullpen. Pittsburgh is actually not that bad, but Pittsburgh used 5 relief pitchers yesterday. And yes, there is a chance Skeens gets them fairly deep into this game because he is good, and he is good against Cincinnati too. But if it gets to the bullpens and it's close, I think Cincinnati starts having the advantage because they have the more rested bullpen and they have the better offense of these 2. Pittsburgh's offense is terrible. So you got to keep all that in mind. Brady Singer is pitching for Cincinnati. Not great numbers this year. 4.36 ERA, 1.31 whip. This is his first year with Cincinnati. He's way worse on the road, too. 5.73 ERA, which does worry me about if you want to potentially play the Reds here. Although I actually do agree with the Reds side in this game. Singer, he had one really bad start where he blew up against Washington. But other than that, going back to the beginning of July, he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of the other starts. Over the last 2 starts, he's gone 13 1/3 innings, only allowing 7 hits, 1 earned run total, and has an 18-2 strikeout walk ratio against Tampa and Atlanta, although both those games are in Cincinnati, where he has pitched better, as I said. But he's pitching pretty well over those last 2 games, man. So he's in good form. He is fooling hitters, which is a decent sign. He's going up again. It's against a really weak Pittsburgh lineup here. Excuse me, I clicked on the Phillies. Pittsburgh, 57 at bats. Singer has a 14-7 strikeout walk ratio against them, which isn't that good. But he's held them to pretty low numbers, a 246 batting average and 626 OPS. So I think Singer should actually be able to do pretty well in this game. Am I betting on preseason football? I almost never do, and I'm going to talk about it after I talk about baseball because it's going to be a short episode today. In baseball, there's only one more game to talk about after this, but if you stay with me, I will talk about the preseason games tonight. It's going to be quick, but I'll basically tell you why betting on preseason is so difficult because, well, I'll talk about it when I get to it, but it makes it very, very difficult to actually get value because the professionals are just looking out for stuff and they just hammer the lines really early. Paul Skeens, as I said, is pitching for the Pirates today. I mean, we know how good he is. 2.02 ERA, 0.92 whip, really ridiculous. Even better at home, 1.87 home ERA. He's continuing to pitch well, even though he gave up 4 runs last outing. He was at Coors Field, still had 8 strikeouts, so I'll give him a pass for that one. He had 3 straight shutout performances prior to that and had 5 shutout performances in the month of July. Or excuse me, 2 straight. One of them was an all-star game appearance. But he had 4 actual shutouts through 5 and 6 innings in each of them in the month of July. So obviously, he's pitching well. We don't need to belabor that. Up against Cincinnati, like I said, he has good numbers as well. 39 at-bats, 18 strikeouts, 2 walks, 179 average, 476 OPS. So I know it seems difficult. You don't necessarily want to really bet against Skeens here, but I think that is the best way to bet this game is to grab Cincinnati. Grab them on the run line, maybe plus 1.5 runs, because Pittsburgh can't score. So if Singer is keeping them in this game, I think once it shifts to the bullpens and you get Cincinnati's offense against Pittsburgh's offense, I think Cincinnati can come within that one run there, man. Especially, again, Cincinnati has motivation. Am I talking myself into betting this one? It's tempting. 52% of tickets, 59% of the cash coming in on Cincinnati. Money is coming in on their side. Pittsburgh down from minus 170 to minus 166. I know you're having to fade Skeens, who's dominant, and he's dominant against Cincinnati. But again, I think Singer could at least duel him enough that Cincinnati's still in the game at that point. Money looks like it came in on the under initially because it was at 7 juice to the over at minus 120, now minus 115. But 57% of tickets, 68% of cash on the over. Man. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the cash percentage is on the over in that game. I wouldn't agree with that. I would be leaning towards an under in this game. It seems like both starting pitchers should have a decent matchup here, so I would lean to the under in this game, but I wouldn't really want to deal with Pittsburgh's bullpen. But first 5 inning under, you'd probably have to go under like 3.5 or even 3, so that doesn't seem like a great idea either. But you know what? I think I'm going to do it. Fuck it. We got to have some action today, right? Even though it's never a good idea to try to force something, but I kind of like this play reasonably well. Let's see what can we get on this. You can get plus 1.5. Oh, you have to pay a lot for the plus 1.5. Fuck. You have to pay minus 154 for the plus 1.5 on Cincinnati. I mean, you could go straight up money line at plus 146, or you could split the bet. Yeah, you know what? Let's split the bet. Hang on a minute. So let me see what the numbers will be on this. If you split it half and half, so that each half of the bet is to win like half of what your regular unit size is, if that makes sense. So like if I normally bet to win 300, I would bet to win 150 on each side of this. And it actually comes out to betting basically about what you would bet at minus 110, if that makes sense. Like you're basically betting around 330 to win 300 on the game. But if you do this and Cincinnati loses by 1, you'll actually still win a little bit of money. You'll like come out slightly ahead on that, and nothing crazy, but you win a little bit. Let's do it. So this is going to be MLB Cincinnati. Again, I think the motivational aspect of it puts this over the edge. You have to pay minus 154 for the plus 1.5 run line though, and then the other half is going to be on the money line at plus 146. Looks like the best number out there. So that's going to be a play. There you go. The Reds split bet. Plus 1.5, minus 154, like I said. So that part of the bet you have to pay more for. But if they come within 1 run, even if they lose the game by 1, you'll still actually win a slight amount of money. So I like doing weird shit like that in MLB. Francona, yeah, I like Francona, man. I mean, he's one of my favorite dudes, one of my favorite managers. I mean, obviously, as a Red Sox fan, I mean, he was probably the best manager that they've ever had, man. I'm sad that he's not there anymore. He basically wins wherever he goes, man. So the Reds definitely could do something. They can make a little bit of noise here, man. They got to make the playoffs to do it. And they're going to need Hunter Green back because he's a really great starting pitcher. I don't know if he's coming back, though, or not. I don't know what happened to him. I know he's injured. But, yeah, I like Francona a lot, man. He was definitely a big reason why the Red Sox were able to reach that next level. And he was there for... Was he there for 3 World Series wins or just 2? I can't even remember now. My brain is just done right now. But yeah, Francona. I mean, he seems like a funny dude too, so I like that aspect about him as well. And the chemistry, part of the reason the chemistry was so good with the Red Sox was Francona. I mean, these guys wanted to play for him. He's a former player as well, even though he was never a good player. He knows the deal, so the players definitely respect him for that. Miami at Atlanta is the last game here. Cincinnati, I already said Cincinnati was coming in from Chicago. Anyway, Miami at Atlanta. Atlanta lost they were the one loss I had yesterday in my 2-1 day yesterday. Atlanta, 3 losses in a row now. I thought it was a good spot to look for Atlanta yesterday. And Strider took strides in the wrong direction and let us down. Atlanta's staying at home, and now they get an easier opponent in Miami here. Miami, again, they've been playing above their pay grade, though. I mean, it's crazy that they're 9 games ahead of Atlanta in the standings when I still think Atlanta is actually the better team, which is insane. Miami beat Houston yesterday, so they've salvaged the last game, which that was the other play that was one of my wins yesterday was Miami. They were able to salvage that last game against Houston. They're now traveling, I believe, or no, they're traveling from home, right? Yeah, they're starting a road trip. You start a road trip with momentum. you do tend to be a little bit focused. Atlanta, I mean, they know they're dead. I mean, Miami probably knows they're not going anywhere either, but Miami might actually come into this game with a little bit more motivation. Bullpen scenario, Atlanta used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. I believe Miami used more than that. Miami used 4. Generally, I would say Atlanta has the somewhat better bullpen, but I think it's a little bit of a wash. Although looking at this game, I would probably be focused on the first 5 innings in this game nonetheless. As far as the offenses, I mean, it's tough to gauge which offense is better at this point, too. I mean, Miami's has been playing above what they should because they really don't have that much talent. Atlanta has more talent, so I'd probably generally say they're the better offense. But like over the course of the year, I think Miami actually has slightly better offensive numbers. I don't have the page up right now because I wasn't going to actually play these games. But as far as this game, I think the starting pitching matchup definitely favors the Marlins. Yuri Perez, you know I like this guy, 2.7 ERA this year, and he's got one of those very desirable sub-1 whips, 0.94 whip. Yuri Perez is pitching well, man. A little bit worse on the road, 3.18 ERA, but he's doing well recently. I know he's gotten a little bit wild over the last few starts, multiple walks in each one of those starts, but he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start going all the way back through the beginning of July. He's been really, really good. And he went 6 innings of shutout ball against the Yankees in his most recent start. Again, he did walk 3 guys, but he had 5 strikeouts, only allowed 2 hits, so he was still fooling the Yankee hitters. And that was the game where Jazz Chisholm made that stupid move where he was running from first base on an infield pop fly, and obviously it was a pop out in the infield, and Chisholm got doubled off of first base because he's that much of an idiot. That was while Perez was still in the game. Perez, I mean, I like this guy, man. I mean, he's a looming presence on the mound. He looks crazy out there at 6'8". He has this like weird windup that's almost like I don't know, it almost kind of hypnotizes you in a way. It's weird. You got to watch him pitch, man. Yuri Perez up against Atlanta doesn't have good numbers, though. Atlanta's seen him a little bit because he's been in this division. 20 at-bats, not a ton, but 3-2 strikeout walk ratio is not that good. Albies has a home run off him, and he's allowed a 350 batting average and 1,059 OPS. So I don't know if I'm really totally ready to jump in on the Marlins here, but I still like Perez over Carrasco. I mean, you're looking at these 2 pitchers, it's like you have one young stud in Yuri Perez who can really fool guys up against an old junk pitcher, Carlos Carrasco, who's like, 16 years older than Perez. Carrasco's numbers are awful this year, 5.68 ERA, 1.53 whip. That's bad, obviously. He was actually on the Yankees, which I misremembered that. He was on the Yankees at the beginning of the year, and then I think the Yankees sent him to AAA or designated him for assignment or something, and I don't know if they wound up trading him, I guess, to Atlanta, but he was not doing well with the Yankees. I mean, not shocking because he's not very good at this point. He's old. I've faded him in recent seasons a lot as well. He pitched well in his 1 start with Atlanta so far at Cincinnati, which is, again, a hitter-friendly park, but he went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 7 hits. It was a pretty respectable performance from Carrasco in that game. Does that mean that I buy him, that he's totally back? No, not really. The Marlins don't have a whole lot of history against him, so they're unfamiliar with him, but there's so much game footage on this guy. I mean, he's not really a guy that I think takes that long to adapt to. They do have 5 plate appearances against him, or 5 at-bats, I guess. More plate appearances than that, maybe. But 5 at-bats, 400 batting average, 1,200 OPS. And Sandy Alcantara actually is in there listed at 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, but he's a pitcher, so he's not pitching. Edward Cabrera is also a pitcher, and he has 1 double against him. So that's not a good sign that he's giving up hits to pitchers. But I guess Edwards is really the only actual hitter. Edwards isn't a pitcher, too, is he? I don't think so. No, he's a shortstop, yeah. So he's 1 for 2 with a double, yeah. So Carrasco, you could basically say that Miami is very unfamiliar with him. So I guess the unfamiliarity edge does go to Carrasco, but looking at these 2 pitchers, there's like no question that Perez is the better of these 2 pitchers, who's been way better this season. And Miami is actually a road favorite, possibly for that reason. Miami, again, surprisingly has the better record. They're going to be actually public because the public is just fading Atlanta game after game, and usually the professional money is saying nah. Usually the professional money is actually coming in on Atlanta, even though Atlanta's been the biggest money burner in Major League Baseball this year, man. So maybe I shouldn't have given them out as the play yesterday, but again, I pick spots where I try to get it right on these teams, man. But Atlanta, I think, money-wise, I think they've lost the most money. Like, if you've played every team, every game on the money line, I think Atlanta's cost you the most money this season. 80% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Miami. They're up from minus 116 to minus 119. I agree with the Miami side, though, so I would play that. If I was going to play this game, I'd probably play Miami in the first 5 innings. Just play Perez to outpitch Carrasco, which I think should happen. But again, we will see, obviously. Total drop from 9 to 8.5, essentially. 55% of tickets on the under, though, and 59% of the cash on the over. I don't know what to make of those conflicting market signals there. Again, with the totals, I usually kind of put more stock in the actual move that happened, because I think it's less likely that the total is being like set up to a degree where it would go almost, well, not really through the key number of 9, but it went all the way down from 9 juice to the under, 8.5 juice to the under, which is a fairly significant move off of a key number of 9 at the very least. So money coming in on the under, kind of expecting both pitchers to do okay. I could potentially see that happening with, Miami's offense not really that good and Carrasco being unfamiliar to them, but I don't know if I trust it. And I do think Yuri Perez will do better than his matchup numbers against Atlanta would suggest. Because, of course, Atlanta had good matchup numbers against Quintana, and they didn't hit him very well last night. So, that's that. We'll go to NFL here. NFL schedule. I don't even have it up, but we do have preseason. You want me to talk about the NFL? It's happening now, man. They're going to try to advertise these games, but as I was alluding to, the reason why NFL is so hard to bet in the preseason is because the line will come out initially, and if that line is off, it'll move real quickly when information comes out, because the information in the preseason is who are the starting players going to be, especially the starting quarterback, like who's going to start this game at quarterback, and that can influence the line so much. So you have like Colts-Ravens here. The Colts are already up from -1 to now -6.5. And they were at 4 yesterday. I think the line was 4. So this line keeps moving up. And there are obvious reasons for this. But the public is going to look at this and think, how am I getting 6.5 on the Ravens here? Which, again, I think if you miss the boat on the Colts, you miss the boat. I don't think you can lay 6.5 with the Colts. I would certainly not do that, especially when the total, these first preseason games are always low scoring for the most part. 36.5 is what the total's up to from 34. Yeah, it's moved up a little bit, but I would not lay a number like that on the Colts. I would have laid this at probably 3 or below on the Colts. I think there was some pretty solid value getting them at that number. But again, preseason, it's so hard you have to really time it, man. Like, you have to know what's going to happen. Basically, right when the line comes out and it starts moving, you got to go get that number. So I probably would have laid 3 or less. I mean, if you want to play the Colts money line and parlay them with something else, I don't like parlays because you never get the best, you never get advantageous odds on them, but I do think the Colts are going to win this game. So if you want to somehow try to play the Colts in this game, you could go over their team total. That might be the best way to play this game, is Colts over their team total. Now that you can't lay the 6.5 on the Colts, play them to score points in this game. That might happen. And the reason for that, the reason why the public is wrong here, 63% of the tickets on the Ravens, only 52% of the cash, because obviously the public, we all know the Ravens are the better team. That's very obvious. Everybody knows this. So then why the hell are the Ravens a 6.5-point underdog here with this game? I think this game is in Baltimore too, right? I don't know if these games are at neutral sites or anything like that. Let me see. Yes, it's in Baltimore. So obviously that makes no sense. If this is a regular season game, Baltimore would be whatever, like probably a touchdown favorite, if not more. So what gives? Well, I think you know the answer to that. It's preseason. And even though both Harbaugh brothers are usually known for going all out in the preseason and wanting to win the preseason games, we saw Jim Harbaugh just win with the Chargers, which I gave that out as a lean on the show. That would have been an easy win had I bet that one. That one was still at a good price to the Chargers. So that was a good idea that I gave out on the show. I should have actually recommended it as a play. Jim Harbaugh did not play Justin Herbert, though. He didn't play his starters in that game. It was just a matter of, I thought the Chargers had the better quarterback depth, so that goes a long way in the preseason. John Harbaugh is known for like kind of going all out and trying to win preseason games too, but not as much so recently. Recently, he's been more of the standpoint that it's just like, well, yeah, we want to play, like we'd like to win these games, but obviously you have to weigh that with, you don't want to get your guys injured, man. The Ravens have so much talent on this offense, but I think it's obvious what's going on with this line. The Ravens are not playing their best players here, man. They're not playing Lamar Jackson. I mean, you'll probably see some of their other starters in the game because you want to get them like used to playing again and whatever, but they're not going to play Jackson. They're probably not going to play their like key offensive players, Derrick Henry. I would not expect those guys to be in this game whatsoever. And that's why the money came in on the Colts. Although again, 6.5 is just way out of control. You can't lay 6.5 here, but the Colts, they have a quarterback battle here, man, between Daniel Jones, I believe, and Anthony Richardson, who I think is actually not hurt right now. So I think both of those guys are going to be in this game. So the Colts are actually going to be trying to run their offense here and trying to score because they actually have not decided on a starting quarterback to start the season yet. So that's the reason why this line is like this. The Colts are going to be playing whoever their starting quarterback is going to be, man. Both options. So I think you're going to see both of those guys play heavily in this game, would be my guess. And that's why the line is way up on the Colts. So again, do with all this information what you want. It's basically the same thing happening in every game today, man. You have Bengals at Eagles, which I assume all these games are just at the home stadium of these teams, right? Yeah, so that's in Philadelphia. And then, yeah, I know that Vegas is at Seattle because that's a big storyline as well. Bengals were two-point underdog, and all of a sudden they're a 6-point favorite. 52% of the tickets, 75% of the cash coming in on the Bengals. So the money is coming in heavily on the Bengals. They're the money side. And again, why is that? Like, why are the Eagles the Super Bowl champions? Why are they an underdog of 6 points now at home? Again, I'm not saying you should lay 6. I don't think you should. If you wanted to, like, moneyline parlay a couple of these guys, the favorites here, you could do that. But again, I don't think you get the best price on it. But I expect the Colts to win. I expect the Bengals to win. There's a reason why the line has moved like that. But again, it's moved so far, so fast that it's just out of control. There's no value in laying it. You don't want to take the worst number, man. There's no value in laying that. Or again, probably better than the parlay would be Colts over their team total and Bengals over their team total. Total's up from 35 to 36.5. Bengals, why is the line moved to that degree? Well, the Bengals are being stupid, and I think it's because the Bengals have started off really poorly in the regular season a couple of years in a row, and last year, losing to the Patriots, I think it was because, that was at home too, I think, for the Bengals. That was because the Bengals had a lot of like guys opting out and like disputing contracts and stuff. They were not ready to go in their first game. But I think the Bengals are basically saying, well, we've had enough of that. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to play Joe Burrow in the first preseason game. So that's actually what's happening. Joe Burrow is playing in this game. And according to, I forget what their coach's name is, Taylor, is that Zachary Taylor, not the former president? I'm not sure he's that good of a coach, man. But he basically said he expects Joe Burrow to play several series in this game. So that, what does that mean? That Burrow's going to play like the entire first half of this game? He might. I don't know, but that's the reason why this line is where it is. The Eagles are not playing their starters. There's going to be no tush pushing. They're not playing Jalen Hurts. They're not playing Barkley, I wouldn't imagine. I don't think any of those guys are getting into this game for the Eagles. The Bengals are starting Joe Burrow, though. And I don't know if they're starting their other guys around him, but he is going to be playing seemingly a significant amount of this game. So that's why the line is where it is. So obviously you have to tip the edge to the Bengals for that reason, and that's why the line has moved like that. But again, it's gone too far. So Bengals team total over, Colts team total over, and I would say the same thing about the Raiders. We see that having similar line movement as well. Raiders flip from plus 1.5 on the road to minus 4.5 now on the road. 67% of the cash on the Raiders, 51% of the tickets on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are getting a little bit of public action. People still riding that Sam Darnold wave, I guess, man, because Sam Darnold was so good for Minnesota last year, right? And then he completely fell apart, and the clock struck midnight on that Cinderella story of his. And once he got pressured, he completely fell apart against Detroit and then against the Rams in the playoffs. He was awful. It's no secret I do not think Sam Darnold is good. I don't like him. I don't think he's ever been good. I think last year was a fluke for the most part, and he had basically the best wide receiver in football on his team last year, which is not going to be the case anymore with the Seahawks, even though, yes, I know they have Cooper Kupp. But even though the public's going to come in on the Seahawks, basically, I think, well, they're looking, well, Raiders suck, Seahawks, Sam Darnold, whatever. But if that's what they're thinking, they're idiots, because Sam Darnold, we know he's the Seahawks starter, so I don't think he's playing in this game. I think the Seahawks are going with backups, whoever the backups are. The reason this line moved like this is because the Raiders they're playing into the storyline, man. It's Pete Carroll and Geno Smith on the Raiders now, both former Seahawks. They're returning to Seattle. That's the huge storyline of the night, man, even though it's a late night game, 10 p.m. it's probably going to be the game that draws the most attention out of these three, I would imagine. Bengals-Eagles looks like a good matchup too, though. But this, Seahawks versus Raiders story, I think, is the biggest storyline, even though these teams, I don't think either of them are going to be good this year. But the Raiders, they're playing Geno Smith in this game, so that's why the line has moved like this. Raiders starting quarterback will be there. He's used to playing in the stadium, obviously. I don't expect him to get that much hate. I mean, it's a preseason game. It doesn't matter. I think the Seahawks fans like Geno. So I think they're going to give him a standing ovation, man. I think he's going to get very little hate in this game. So I think Geno Smith is going to show up and want to play well, for his former fans there. It's a preseason game. Again, it doesn't matter that much. So that's what I expect in this game. I think the Raiders are going to win this game for those reasons. But, so again, it's the quarterback situation influencing all of these lines to that degree. The quarterback can influence lines like that, man. Professional money is what really does it, the professional money coming in, but it's because of the quarterback situations. So hopefully that information is good. I think if you want to play any of these games, I wouldn't lay the favorite price with any of those teams. I think it's out of control. The total in this last game, the Seahawks-Raiders game, is up to 37 now. Again, really low totals in preseason week one. It's notoriously low scoring in preseason week one because the offenses kind of aren't ready yet. They don't really have they're not in rhythm yet, pretty much. So that's why it happens. But again, expecting those three teams to win, I think you could still get a better price attacking their team totals over. So that's what I would do in all of those games. Colts, Bengals, Raiders over team totals is the way that I would attack those games. But I'm really not a preseason bettor, but that's the way it's going to be, man. And then again, the actual play I'm going to give out is Major League Baseball. We're going to fade Paul Skeens. We're going to go Cincinnati Reds, half plus 1.5 on the run line and half the bet on the plus 146 money line. So I'll give out one play today when I thought I was going to give out none. And that's always a problem when I decide, I'm not going to give out any play, and then I get kind of caught up in the moment and I talk myself into it. Those haven't worked out that well for me so far, but hopefully this one does. We're on a little bit of a decent streak going on here. I think I was, I was 3-1. Then I think I had a 1-1 day, and then yesterday 2-1. So 4-2, 6-3 is the run that I'm currently on. I think, which is all baseball plays too. Might have been one WNBA play in there. Whatever it is, I've been doing okay over the last week or so. So that's gonna do it, man. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram, or I guess I have to put a video up there talking about the Reds now because I was like, oh, good, I don't have to do any Instagram videos today, but Learn to Toad on there as well. Bettor Off Dead, obviously, YouTube, Bettor on YouTube, audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, help me out, like, subscribe, comment, rate, do all the things, man. Let's help push this thing further, and, get me up to enough subscribers on YouTube that we can monetize this joint as well. Covered in Uke is also my ukulele project on YouTube, which I have to get some more uke songs up on that channel. I probably have to put all the originals I just put out, the Lolita album that I put out yesterday, whatever her name is, Lolita Diaries, excuse me. I put on an album on her birthday for her yesterday, so maybe I should put all of those songs up in a separate playlist on Covered in Uke on the YouTube. I got to get a handle on that, man. I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/learntotode, where you get ukulele benefits right now. You get a Spotify uke feed at one of the levels and prioritize requests at one of the levels. And thinking of adding more stuff to that, which I should do. I got to just figure out how I want to proceed with it. That's going to do it for now. Thanks, everybody, and let's have a good Thursday. Peace.